Now, this is Mr. Jared Odero. Mr. Jared Odero is here at Hotel Continental, and the purpose of his presence here is that he's come to attend the meeting here. Mr. Odero, welcome to this interview.
Thank you very much, Mr. Osero.
Now, I don't have to go into the detail of this controversy. What is your general view about what has already happened?
My general view is very clear. Mr. Maggero was a man of the society, and in as much as he was a public figure, yes, he was a private figure with his family. I respect that. But I feel as a Kenyan, we still have to honor him, we have to show respect to him, we still have to be there for him regardless of the situation. I still support the fact that his family in Kenya, who also belong to the concept of next of kin, should have been allowed enough time to come and bid him goodbye and also be there for him during this sorrowful moment.
Now, are you opposed to Maggero being cremated and the way the family has organized the funeral? Or what do you have to say about this issue?
I'm in no way opposed to the cremation issue, because that is the family's position, the family within Sweden. But if in any way there was a challenge from the family in Kenya, because it is a fact that there is a family in Kenya belonging to Mr. Maggero, then it's obvious that that side of the family should have been given an opportunity to also share their view. But in terms of the situation in Sweden, I don't see or have any objection, because that's the position of the family.
Now, you have been involved in this issue for quite some time. You have written messages to KSB, and you have been attacked in certain areas by the so-called liberated young Kenyans. Do you think that this is a question of liberation, or do you think that it is a question of culture, or what is your point of view?
First of all, I may ask the so-called liberated young Kenyans, what have they been liberated from? Who has been chaining them? Who has put them under yokes? Who shackled them? You know, there must be a clear agenda. If you're claiming to be liberated, then you must be very clear about what you're being liberated from. That agenda is not there. What is very clear here is that these are people who are trying to hit back upon a group of people. For example, myself and you, Mr. Sewe, who have taken the opportunity to write what we know or we feel about the situation of the late Mr. Maggero. So my position is very clear. If these people have an agenda because they've been going out anonymously, they should be very clear about what their agenda is.
Now, there is a memorial service that is being planned for Mr. Maggero. Do you think it is necessary to organize another memorial service?
For me, it's very necessary, because number one, we were very clear when we met here at the Continental on the 10th of January. We pleaded with the family on behalf of Maggero's daughter, Helen, to allow us enough time as Kenyans to mourn him. That was ignored. I believe that as Kenyans, our share of solidarity must be visible when we meet and organize something to say goodbye Mr. Maggero in our own way. I believe that must be honored by our fellow Kenyans.
Now, Maggero had a family in Kenya. Do you think that it was in order to try and plead with the Maggero Swedish family to allow them to travel, or do you think that these calls were irrelevant, as some people have said?
Obviously, if Maggero, according to the records, never divorced his wife in Kenya, then he was part of that family, whether estranged, you know, whether by distance. So my belief is very clear. The plea of the family, which was also channeled to the family here in Sweden via a lawyer, should have been respected. I mean, this is a matter of pleading. Nobody forced the family not to do what they had planned. This was just a plea which I believe, in terms of human rights, should have been accepted.
What is your view that Maggero should be left, Maggero's soul should be left to rest in peace?
Well, in terms of resting in peace, it depends upon the two cultures involved. Because what is very clear is Maggero had a family in Sweden. They have their own way of bidding one goodbye. We are Africans. It is no question, or it's not even disputable, that we have a way of bidding somebody goodbye. Somebody's soul when it comes to resting in peace, must go according to certain cultures that is tied to, regardless. It's not just an issue of his own tribe's people. It's an issue of beating by in an African way. And those sets and norms are there in all societies, regardless. I mean, you go to Haiti, you go to anywhere, with black people, they have their own ways of beating somebody by. So, for his soul to rest in peace, there must be a compromise, there must be an acceptable norm to be followed for the people whom he belonged to, saying goodbye, so that all can have peace.
Some people have claimed that cultures are always changing and that Maggero did not ascribe to the kind of cultural provisions that some Kenyans are currently campaigning for. What is your reaction?
Culture is dynamic, I don't deny. I mean, we moved from wearing skins in Africa to wearing things the Western way. Whether forced or whether we negotiated, culture is dynamic, I don't doubt that. But what is very clear is that as long as we show clearly that we still have ties, certain ties that bring us together. And the late Mr. Maggero was quite open about participating in our activities. I mean, for example, why did he have to team up the Kenya-Swedish Society together? That was a show that he was part of the Kenyan plus the Swedish community. So the dynamism in culture does not mean that certain things have to be disbanded. We can form our own subcultures within Sweden and have our norms to follow. That is acceptable.
Do you have anything else to say?
All I can say is very simple. I mean, I've been threatened already for my words on the KESB, and I feel offended. I said very clearly within my article that if one has got a problem in understanding what I've written, it is very clear. I'm open for challenge, I'm open for debate, but I don't like it when somebody sends anonymous information threatening me, telling me that I don't belong to Sweden, I belong to Kenya. If Sweden is a country of fairness and harmony, as that person claims, then why threaten me? Why not face me with a name? That's my word.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Seven.